Hey, Patrick. It certainly looks like you're coming back to a little bit of a different world. Tyreek's gone, Pringle's gone, Demarcus Robinson's gone, Mike Kafka's gone. I know you got some new receivers coming in. Matt Nagy's back. I'm just wondering what all this means to you, and particularly not having Tyreek anymore. And Brad will have a second question as well.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be different in a sense, but I feel like we still have a strong foundation of guys that have been here over the last few years, and with Coach Reed, Coach Bieniemy, and then having a guy like Coach Nagy back. It's someone that I've worked with before, so I have that commonality. And then as far as on the field, we're bringing in a lot of different receivers, but we still have guys like Trav and stuff like that that can kind of teach the ways that we do things, how we practice, everything like that. McCole can do that as well. And then we'll have to find production in different ways than we did the last year because Tyreek was such a big part of our offense. But I think you've seen in games that we haven't had Tyreek or we haven't had certain people, other guys have stepped up and made plays happen, and I expect that to happen this year as well.
Okay. And I know you've had a chance to throw to Juju and to Valdez Scantling a little bit. What are your thoughts on them? What do they bring you guys that maybe you didn't have before?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that you see is, as I've thrown to all these guys, really, is that we have a lot of size in that receiving room that we haven't necessarily had in the past. We've done it different ways with speed and beating guys deep and stuff like that. But to have big physical receivers that can still run, that can still catch the ball over the top, but at the same time, there's been balls I've even thrown while we're throwing just kind of out there routes on air type stuff, and I've thrown it high thinking it's an overthrow, and those guys are catching it easy. So just having that size, I think, will be different. I'm excited for it. I think it'll be something that we can be very useful for us during the season.
Let's go next to Sam McDowell. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Patrick, and Brad, I'll have a couple things. Last year, obviously, the way Tampa defended you guys in the Super Bowl is the way you guys were defended a lot of the rest of the season. Do you anticipate and have you prepared for a lot of what the Bengals were giving you to see that over the course of the rest of this next season?
Yeah, they did a lot of the same similar stuff that we had saw in the Buffalo game, the game before, and we had seen kind of during the season. That's a lot of shell coverages, first, second down, and then bringing their dime personnel and playing man with a little spy on me. And they did a good job of that, especially in the second half. But I think that just goes with us having to execute at a higher level. We're going to see man coverages. We'll see shell coverages. We're going to see a lot of different pitches, I guess you would say. And so for us, it's about finding ways to have success. Finding ways to run the football, finding ways to play action off the run, make those big plays still happen, and just kind of find the team that we are, which I think can be a very special football team.
And then just football-wise, what's on your mind most this offseason?
Yeah, it's been cool for me because at this point last year I was still in the boot, so just to be able to have a full off season where I can train from the get-go, I can throw, do all these different type of things. It's something that I wasn't able to do at this point last year, so. Definitely excited about that. I feel like I'm in a great spot now, getting a lot of work with these receivers down here in Texas. So I think it'll have me a little bit more advanced than I even was at this point last offseason.
Let's go next to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Brad, I have the second one as well. Patrick, thanks for doing this. As you were getting to know these guys more and more, just what are you trying to get them to understand as to what it's like to run Coach Reed's offense, and how much implement do you feel like you have as to how the offense may change from last year to this year?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for the work that we've been getting in Texas is first we want to build those relationships. I think that's what made us so great over these last few years is we have a team that our bond of our team, the chemistry that we have, that we can go out there and be who we are. So I wanted to get everybody together so they get to meet each other. They learn how each other kind of acts with each other and how to build those friendships. And then I wanted to really focus on the details because we're kind of starting. You get to start brand new again from the first thing. Those things that you kind of just blew through and kind of went through really quickly last year. You get to really focus on those details, which I think is a great thing for us because we'll get to go back to the basics of it, learn it from there, and then evolve as the season goes on. And so we'll definitely have different things. We always are evolving as an offense and changing. But I think having this good of a receiving room, everybody – that can go out there and make plays. It'll be great competition, and I think will help us in the long run.
And with that, Patrick, Andy mentioned earlier today that both he and Brett Veach kept you and Travis informed as to how the negotiations were going with Tyreek, and then obviously the decision to lead to the trade. I just wondered, when you found out that he wasn't going to be your teammate anymore, just what was your initial reaction, and then how have you tried to sort of focus elsewhere, knowing that this is sort of a new challenge in your career?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, my initial reaction was a little bit of shock. I mean, even though you knew that this was a possibility, just playing with a guy that you've played and built a friendship with over the last 6 years, it definitely was something that you didn't want him to leave, more for the just being able to hang out in the locker room and do that stuff than the actual on the field stuff. But you're happy for him, man. I mean, he got a great contract. Obviously, he's back where he has a house in the off season around a lot of his family and stuff like that. And I wish the best for him. And then for me, it was just we got to keep rolling. That's just kind of how it is in this league. It's a business as much as it is about your friendships and stuff like that. And so we know that in order to have success in this league, you have to keep evolving and keep getting better. And so I got with these new receivers as quickly as possible and try to build that so that we could have success right when we get going this year.
Let's go next to James Palmer. Go, James.
Patrick, this is our first opportunity to hear you talk about the match, man. Why are you and Josh gonna win this thing?
Man, I think the reason we're going to win is because we're going to be able to play the course a little differently than old Tom and old Aaron over there. So they're going to be playing it nice and easy. They might get us in a couple par threes and stuff like that, but whenever we can really open it up and use the drivers, it's going to be nice to be able to use our little wedges while they're using their 6-irons. So that'll help us a little bit.
Let's go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Patrick, good to see you. For the COVID restrictions to be over, this is pretty unique for Andy Reid not to have everyone back in Kansas City, even for phase one. And I guess it's a blanket question. How did this process of these guys staying in Texas with you come about with Andy? Was it your idea? Who's down there exactly? Are they staying with you? And what are these pseudo practices like? Just as much detail as you're willing to give about kind of how this came about and what's happening.
Yeah, so it kind of started off where I was going to have some guys anyways come run routes and do stuff like that before OTA started. And then as I kind of talked to Coach Reed and EB, they kind of informed me, they're like, if you want to get everybody down there, then we can do the virtual these first few weeks and kind of keep everybody together. Because like that, you're off the field. I'm going to lunch with these guys. I'm working out with these guys as well, not just throwing. So you kind of build those relationships that way. And then plus we're in a little warmer weather than KC is right now. So it was a thing where we were going to have to work anyways and get off and do off the field. And then we decided that it was, as long as we were in Texas working together, the coaches said that we could do it virtually and still get the learning that we need. And that just evolves with the trust that they have in us, is that we're going to be vets and we're going to do it the right way, like we've been doing. And whenever we roll into KC in May, we'll be ready to go then too.
Let's go next to Todd Palmer. Go ahead, Todd.
Hey, Patrick, appreciate the time. You mentioned the shell coverage and everything you guys saw last year. In what way do you feel like maybe spreading the ball around, diversifying the offense will help you defeat some of those coverages you saw, now that you're going to have maybe a variety of weapons they have to account for?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very interested to see how defenses are going to play us just in general, because I mean, a lot of that shell stuff was because of the speed that we had on the outside, and this year we have that speed still with guys like Valdez-Scantling and McCole, but we also have bigger guys that can catch over the middle with Travis obviously and Juju and all these guys. So we kind of have a nice mixture of speed and size, which I think will force defenses to try to not only play those deep coverages, but come up and play some man too. So I think it's going to be able to have a different variety for them, where they won't know exactly where the ball's going every single play. They don't know where it's going to, because we have so many different guys that can make plays in this offense.
Let's go next to Herbie Teope. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Patrick, speaking of so many guys who can make plays on the offense, McCole Hardman, what are your expectations and what has been your message to him as he enters this season, especially with Tyreek gone now?
Yeah, I mean, I think whenever McColl's gotten opportunities in this offense, even when Tyreek would have to go out and then he would come in and run the routes that Tyreek ran, he made plays happen. He made a lot of big plays and big moments, especially at the end of last season. And so for me, it's just continue to be himself. I mean, he doesn't have to be Tyreek Hill. I mean, he has to be McCole Hardman, and I think McCole Hardman can be a great player in this offense. He's made a Pro Bowl already, and I think he can keep getting better and better. So everybody kind of puts that thing of, hey, he's got to replace Tyreek. I think he can be his own player, which can be a Pro Bowler and a great player in this offense as well. So I think just him continue to evolve and play hard and practice hard. He'll have a great season this year.
Let's go next to Todd Lebo. Go ahead, Todd.
On that same front, Patrick, people have made a lot the fact that he didn't really do some of the off-site, off-season workout stuff in the past, like coming down and catching passes with you. He's been down there with you guys some. You see that as a sign that he understands maybe how big this opportunity is to step up in this offense and how important it can be for his future since this is the last year of his first deal.
Yeah, I mean, I think since McColl's been here, we've had COVID for like the last 2 years, and then obviously this year he came down here. So it isn't like he's been missing a lot of things here and there. It kind of got overblown, I think, a little bit because he wasn't there the first week, but he's been here ever since. It's I think it got overblown a little bit in a sense, but he's a guy who's always worked hard. I mean, he's a guy that's always putting in the time and just kind of waiting for his opportunity. I mean, when you have two all-pro Chiefs legends that are getting a lot of the catches, I mean, it's hard to get everybody the targets that they want. But every time he's in there and has his opportunity, he's going 100 miles an hour as hard as he can. So you respect guys like that, and then you're happy that he'll have even a bigger chance to have a bigger opportunity this year. And I expect big things from him.
Got time for 3 more. We'll go right down the line, starting with Darren. Go ahead, Darren.
Hey, Patrick, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. 2 questions for you. First one, look, you've always talked about going into the offseason how you want to be a better quarterback, and up with your accuracy and stuff like that. What type of challenges do you see that you're willing to face, obviously, with this new core receivers to where it'll cause the defense problem this time around? Then I have a follow-up.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, first off, it's about me building that timing with those guys. I mean, I got to make sure that I'm on that same timing that I was with Tyreek and Pringle and D-Rob these last few years. And so that's why we're doing what we're doing now. And I think just having the different variety, I think it's going to be huge for us. I mean, the defense doesn't know where the ball is going to. I mean, we have so many different guys that can make plays and do stuff out there. And that I'm just excited to be able to go out there and spread the football around, be able to run the football. I mean, I think our offensive line, we had at the end of the last year was probably one of the best, if not the best offensive line in the league. So being able to run the football with them as well, it will make our offense more diverse, and I think will make us more successful in the long run.
And I know we haven't really had a chance to really talk to you since the offseason, but obviously all the moves that are being made especially in the AFC, you got Russell Wilson to Denver, you've got Deshaun Watson going over to Cleveland. I mean, how do you foresee this, this upcoming season with the AFC being as loaded as it is and the type of challenge that it's going to face for you all to try to get back at least to the AFC Championship game, if not the Super Bowl?
Yeah, no, I mean, if you look at our schedule, I mean, it seems like every team that we played was in the playoffs these last few years. And so for us, it's about going out there, knowing that we're going to play great football every single week. And if we don't, we're going to lose. So you got to play great football every single week and try to find a way to win the AFC West first off, and then try to get into the playoffs in the AFC and try to get the Super Bowl again. I mean, it's always going to be a challenge. You're always going to win big football games. Obviously, this year's even bigger than most because of how stacked the AFC West is. But you don't want it any other way to be able to go into a division like this and try to win the AFC West again in this division. That'll just show the true success that we've had running in the Chiefs Kingdom so far.
We'll go last to Matt Derrick. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Patrick, always appreciate your time, man. This is the first kind of normal draft process that we've had in a few years. And I'm wondering what your kind of draft process is. Do you have any contact with some of the guys that are coming out and training? What feedback are you given and what's Brett Veach giving you as far as the process? And where will you be during the draft and keeping an eye on what the Chiefs are doing?
Yeah, no, I mean, I obviously, if they ask me stuff, I'll give my input and stuff like that. But I trust in Veach. I trust in Coach Reed. If you look at their history, I mean, they've found players everywhere in the draft that have had success on this team. And so I always trust in them that they're going to make the right decisions. They keep me in the loop, just kind of like everything else of kind of what they're looking at and stuff like that. But as far as where I will be for the draft, I actually have a bachelor party that weekend. So one of my best friends from high school, his bachelor party is that weekend. I don't want to say where, but I'll be on that. But I'll sure to stay in touch and be in tune with what's going on draft night.
Patrick, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us.
Thank y'all.